United States is the #1 consumer and producer of child abuse content. About 2 million children are trafficked every year worldwide.
Tim said, well, tell Carrie, my wife, Jim will have 30 Navy SEALs around him. And well, in this particular moment, they were on a mission and they saved 200 children while we were filming. He went down to Colombia, sold his house, and he was 10 days of getting his pension to find this little girl.
That's what Tim did?
Yeah, and this little boy, about 5 years old, and he says, will you save my sister?
Your latest project, Sounds of Freedom, with Tim Ballard. How did that come about?
By making the right decision today. Tim Ballard saw The Count of Monte Cristo, and that was a rough one. That was a hard film, because there was a point there where they removed God from the screenplay, and I asked them to put it back in, and they did. But the scenes were too long. They had to be shortened. But that God will give me justice was not in there when I got the rewrite, when I came to Ireland to shoot it. That had to go back in. So I was the wrong guy for the movie unless they put it back in. Thankfully they did. So that's the film that Tim saw. The other film was The Passion, and he was profoundly moved by those two films. Now, because of the trouble I got in after The Passion, when they clearly said this is an anti-Semitic film, and I clearly said that Jesus is a Jew, and we have science behind this, I've done nothing wrong. And this film is a righteous film. And look at the public. They loved this movie. Why will you not allow me to work in this town? Okay, now I did get parts. I had friends that gave me great favors and helped me along, but it wasn't the same from that point on. Now, Tim Ballard saw those two films, and had I not made the decision, I'd never, been a part of it. But again, when God asked me, I'd like you to be an actor, it wasn't going to be easy. This was going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it just short of The Passion. But it was the hardest thing because of the children. Now, Tim Ballard came to me. First was Eduardo Verostegui, the producer of the movie, and Alejandro Monteverdi, the director. Both very talented and both extremely needed in this particular team. It required a producer that was going to lose all the money on the movie, and we were finished. Disney was going to buy Fox. So Disney, obviously, when they saw this movie, there are executives that want the film, but they're, eventually the bad one out, and this is not something they want to represent their company. Count of Monte Cristo, okay, but not this one. They did not want me for this role. Whoever it was at Fox, when Tim met with them, and he said, no, I gotta have this guy. This is who I want. So I met those three individuals, and that led us to go down to Colombia. And my wife just saw a movie or a show called Narcos, and she didn't want me anywhere near down there in this particular time when we were down there. It was crazy. And Tim said, well, tell Carrie, my wife, that Jim will have 30 Navy SEALs around him. Sure, some of them are Rangers and Delta too, but anyway. They always say SEAL teams. But anyway, one day I was at work. She gets on the phone. She calls me, and she goes, do you have protection around there? I said, oh, yeah. And I don't know, maybe only 2 today. Where are they? They told me. And well, in this particular moment, they were on a mission. They took down a really big group of guys, and they saved 200 children while we were filming. So it wasn't the safest place. At one point we were in cartel, and area, and where we were shooting, I went to go get my sunglasses, and I had guys like you coming up to me and going, "You can't ever do that again. They'll pick you up here in a heartbeat." And we were in their territory.
What part of Colombia were you in?
Bogota, Cartagena, Santa Marta, and then Medellin.
Oh, you did quite the tour.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know a whole lot about the film as it's not out yet, but it's about, from my understanding, it's about the life of Tim Ballard, what he's doing, and what he's doing is saving children all across the world from being sex trafficked, exploited sexually.
Yeah, so he CIA moves to Homeland Security, and the frustration is he's getting these pedophiles and these traffickers, but he's not able to save the children. That's what he really wants to do. They were down in Calexico, and where they took down the guy, Ernst Limpaczynski, the guy that had come in one of the worst trafficker pedophiles I've ever seen. And they picked this guy up, and this little boy, about 5 years old, and he says, "Will you save my sister?" And that is a question. It's like a mark on his heart, and he couldn't. It's like the Bible where Jesus says the kingdom of heaven, it's like a pearl. He would sell everything, do anything to attain this. That's what he did. He went down to Colombia, sold his house to hit the money, what he had out. And he was 10 days of getting his pension. And he goes down to Colombia to find this little girl. So it's like...
That's what Tim did?
Yeah, that's what he did.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's taken, the film, but with a huge heart,
So is the entire film in Colombia?
Yes. Well, I mean, we shot it, parts in the U.S. and Calexico at the border as well.
Let's talk about some facts.
Sure.
To go into sex trafficking. It's considered a modern form of slavery. The United States is the #1 consumer and producer of child abuse content. The Department of Homeland Security estimates that child trafficking has an annual global profit of $150 billion. Human trafficking has already passed the illegal arms trade and is going to pass the drug trade. About 2 million children are trafficked every year worldwide. That's how serious this is. That's just a few.
But that's just the
facts.
beginning of it all. I mean, the trafficking, it's first part to the public. I've learned you get too far in front of the narrative, they don't believe you. If you were talking about trafficking around 290, when I was doing Monte Cristo, you never heard about it. And it'd be conspiracy theorists.
Do you think this is getting bigger, or do you think that the information is just getting out? Do you think, I guess what I'm asking, do you think it was always this?
I think it's much bigger.
You think it's growing?
Oh, I think it's already bigger than that. I think it's much bigger because I've talked to Tim about the numbers from other guys and then gone over to Tim and goes, yeah, I mean, those are good numbers and everything, but it's bigger than that because there's other forms of the business.
This is just what we know.
Yes, on that part. I mean, it's we've been talking about 6 million. 2 million at least are also involved in the organ harvesting and all the other shit that's the stuff that it's just beyond. They're cattle. These are cattle. It's like buying cows. What do you do with a cow? You milk them, you do it, but you also eat the meat and all that other stuff. And it's far worse than people are willing to go.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, Please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.